Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode number 283. Subscribe to our mailing list to receive weekly updates and exclusive content delivered right to your inbox. Go to drfrancesrichards.com. That's drfrancesrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. That's drfrancesrichards.com, drfrancesrichards.com to subscribe to our mailing list and be entered into our monthly drawing. We promise we won't spam you or sell your information. Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards. Did you know 82% of businesses fail because of cash flow? Our next guest fails as an entrepreneur. Today, she is thriving as a virtual CFO, and her focus is on profitability. Welcome, Octavia Conner.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you'd like them to know about you and your business?
Okay, well, as you mentioned, my name is Octavia Conner. I am the CEO of Say Yes to Profits. Say Yes to Profits is a movement, a company, a mission, and I like to say entrepreneurs' ultimate superpower. So what does it mean? Basically, Say Yes to Profits is a virtual CFO firm, and our goal is to help businesses scale to 7 figures and beat the IRS tax game. We've been in operation since 2011, and I have been in the accounting industry now going on 15 plus years.
Talk about coming up with this strategy, the zone of genius behind this idea, Say Yes to Profits.
I can only honestly credit it to God. I was in my office, and when I first started my company several years ago, the name at the time was Smart Accounting Services. And I thought that was cute, but I felt like it boxed me in. I always wanted to be more than just an accountant. While there's nothing wrong with being just an accountant, I had the urge and the passion to really help businesses understand their finances and be able to use this key information to grow their business. And at the time, I felt like that was only offered to larger companies. So I was walking around my office one day, and under the name Smart Accounting Services, most clients only wanted us to do taxes or bookkeeping or payroll. Anytime I tried to discuss financial consulting with them and how to leverage their numbers to grow their business, they were like, yeah, that's great, but that's not what I hired you for. So I said, well, you know what? I have to absolutely do something different. So I was walking around my office and I was like, what do I want people to say? What do I want my clients to do when they come into this space? What do I want the ultimate results to be? And it was almost like a light bulb. It was like, I want my clients to say yes to profits. I was like, aha, that is going to be the name, Say Yes to Profits. And from there, I guess, as they say, is history.
Talk about profits, pivot, and the pandemic.
Profits, pivot, and the pandemic. That is good. So I would start with pivot because there was a time in my business where I had to make a huge pivot. When I first left corporate America, I just knew that my company was going to earn 6 figures in like 6 months or less. Because at the time, I was a CFO for a multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical company. And my thought process was, well, if I can help them get to this place, I know for a fact I can do it for myself. So I left corporate America and I started my business. And within like 12 months, I was flat on my face. I was broke. And I call it my broke, busted, and disgusted story. And I really had to take a step back and pivot the way I thought about entrepreneurship, the way I thought a CEO should operate. And when I made that pivot and I started to implement different strategies and different systems, my business actually shifted from a negative $152 in my bank account to a multi six-figure business within like a 12 to 16 month process after being flat broke. So that was the pivot for me. Profits, one of the things that I started to do in order for that pivot to happen was really focus on my money. Believe it or not, as an accountant, I wasn't focused on my money. I was focused on helping other businesses. And I started to spend time, and I at the time would call it a money date, where every Friday I would sit down for Financial Fridays. And this is something I do to this day. And I think about where are we and where would we like to be and how to bridge the gap between the two. And every Friday I started to do that. And I started to think about how would the $1 million Octavia operate? What would she do? Would she do the things that I am doing? And if there was a no, I would immediately shift the way that I showed up as a CEO, the way that I showed up for my clients, the way that I showed up on sales calls. I would immediately shift and change because I started to think like the $1 million Octavia. And when I implemented those different strategies, profits naturally came. And I said to myself, if I want my clients to say yes to profits, I have to say yes to profits first in order to teach my clients how to say yes to profits. And then as far as the pandemic, I always tell business owners to prepare for the worst case scenario in your business. What is the worst that could happen? If you prepare for that in advance, if it ever happens, you would be okay. You would be prepared for the next pandemic that's going to come because you're operating your business in a way where you're saving your money, you have your services priced for profit, and you have a $1 million business model and you're on your way to $1 million. So that's how you prepare for a pandemic.
What book would you recommend and why?
First and foremost, the E-Myth Revisited. That was my favorite hands down book, I would have to say. The next book would probably be Traction. Yes, those would be my two top books I would recommend. And then, of course, I would have to say my book, Say Yes to Profits Now.
That's what I was going to say. So talk about that book and how can they get that book?
So you can definitely go to my website and you can also find it on Amazon in the Kindle version as well. And Say Yes to Profits Now is broken down into 3 parts: the mindset, the cash flow, and the profits. I started with the mindset because I truly believe that your mindset is the key to your ultimate level of success, right? As cliche as it may sound, if you don't see it, you're not going to really see it in reality, right? If you can't see it in your mind. So in the book, I deep dive into the mindset strategies that I implemented to shift from broke, busted, and disgusted to a breakthrough. And then I moved to cash flow and understanding your financial reports and understanding how to price for profit, right? And then profits. And profits is all about how to maximize the profits in your business. Oftentimes, business owners will earn revenue, and yet the revenue doesn't flow to their bottom line. And that is what the profits part is about in the Say Yes to Profits Now book.
Octavia, since you've been in business, talk about a success story that comes to mind, that zero to hero.
Oh my goodness, I have a couple. I'll talk about one of the most recent ones. I have a client and I'm actually in the process of editing her video testimony so that I can share it. But when we first started working together, she was really, really nervous about hiring an accountant. And she was really apprehensive because of the state of her business. She had been in business for 13 years and had never really reached the level that she desired to reach. So after watching several of our videos, she decided to take the leap of faith and hire my firm. And within less than 12 months, her business went from the current state that it was in to experiencing a 850% growth, right? So if we break that down, what I can say, because I don't want to share too much, but what I can say is that by working with us less than 12 months, she ended up having now where she consistently maintains a six-figure bank balance. So imagine how much you have to earn in order to have a six-figure bank balance. In her video, she states adamantly that she's never, ever been in this position before. She has had business coaches, but she's never had her business be at the level that it's at now in less than 12 months. So that would be the best one. We often say that we grow businesses anywhere between 30% and 350. But this young lady, in less than 12 months, her business grew by 850%. So I am beyond excited about her success.
What is something that we don't know about your industry that we should?
That all accountants are not the same. So oftentimes you have a bookkeeper, an accountant, a CPA, and a virtual CFO. And those are four different accounting professionals. Now, one person absolutely can function in all of those roles, but they all have different skill sets. And honestly, they're all needed at some point in your business. Again, this does not mean you have to go out and hire a bookkeeper, an accountant, a CPA, and a virtual CFO, because for example, at Say Yes to Profits, you receive an accounting team that consists of those individuals. But I think it's a common misconception that all accountants are either the same or all accountants handle taxes. And that's not true.
Talk about that moment that you did your day quit. You quit your day job.
Okay, well, it started with a prayer. I started working with my sister. Well, you know what? I'll go back even further. I was at this company and I got to the point where I really didn't want to be there anymore. I was earning six figures at this company, or close to six figures at this company. And the environment was okay. It was a pleasant environment, great people, but I just felt like it was more for me out there. In corporate accounting, you most times do the same thing over and over again. And I started to walk in every day and I didn't want to be there. I was unhappy there. And again, not because of the people or the environment, but I knew that there was something more. So I started to pray and seek guidance. And I wanted a yes. I had just built my house from the ground up. I had just bought a new truck. I had at the time 3 kids. I was like, if I do anything, it has to be successful, right? So as I began to pray, my sister was expanding her business and she needed someone to help with the accounting side. So I started to work with her part-time as her bookkeeper. And that I feel is when I was bit by the entrepreneur bug. Instead of just being a bookkeeper, I was giving her strategies and systems and solutions. And we both were amazed at how her business was growing. And it was already growing before I came on, but it was like it just started to triple in the growth. And I was like, this is for me. So after prayer, I went to church one day. And believe it or not, I was called to the front and, the pastor was like, go for it. Whatever you've been praying about, it is your time. And I said, okay. And I quit my job the next week. Now, I don't recommend anyone do that today because I did go through the broke, busted, and disgusted stage because you should plan right beforehand. So I don't recommend that, but that's what happened. I said, I'm leaving and I left.
Now, during that moment, did you have to, during that broke, busted, and disgusted, did you go back to a 9-to-5?
I absolutely did. I felt that it was unfair for my kids to suffer because mommy wanted to live her dream. So I started searching for a job. I did both part-time. So I went to a company that allowed me to work, I think it was like 9 to 2, or 9 to 12, one of those. And I would work that company part-time, and then I would get off and I would work my business. And what I did differently when I went back to corporate America, I planned. And I followed a strategy, and I did financial Fridays, and I really laser focused on my money and my business. And as I said before, I started to think like at the time, I was like, how would the six-figure Octavia think? Right. And then I reached six figures. And then it was, how would the $1 million Octavia think? So I started to shift the way that I thought that person would act. I thought they would show up. And I studied entrepreneurs that were $1 million business, were a six-figure business. And I began to see the results in my business.
Octavia, what can we do right now to support your business?
Well, you could visit our website. Right now, we have the Say Yes to Profits plan. That is a free profit plan for business owners that want to maximize profits and cash flow. When you visit our website, if you go to sayyes2profits.com/plan, you can download your plan. Also, we do weekly live videos on YouTube in the Say Yes to Profits Facebook community, as well as LinkedIn. So I definitely would encourage you to join our live videos every week, where we give away tons of nuggets to help you say yes to cash flow and say yes to profits in your business.
I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person that you're talking to, living or not, and they have been so instrumental in your life. Who is that person, and what are you saying to them?
Wow. I would have to say that that person would be my grandmother. My grandmother raised me, and no matter what failure stage I was in, no matter if I had a bad day, no matter what, she would always encourage me, and she would say, "You're gonna get there. No worries, you're gonna get there." And just those words would make me feel like, you know what, you're not gonna give up. You're gonna try again, because if your grandmother can tell you you're gonna get there with almost like it was, she just knew it. She just knew without a shadow of a doubt that it was gonna happen. Then you cannot give up. You can't stop. So I would have to say my mother, that's what I call her, my grandmother.
There are so many successful businesses and brands that are dominating. Talk about a brand or business that's dominating that you admire and why.
Slutty Vegan. Slutty Vegan is a vegan restaurant. The owner, her name is Pinky Coles. And first, her burgers are amazing, right? Second, I've watched several of her videos. One day I'm going to meet her. She's an inspiration. She is an absolute inspiration on how she had a failed restaurant and she started again, on how she named her business Slutty Vegan, and some told her not to. And her company, I believe at the date of this video, she just closed a $10 million deal, and her company is like at 4 million plus. So I would have to say Pinky Coles from Slutty Vegan.
Yes, and she's in your area, ATL.
She is. She has 3 restaurants here in Atlanta.
That's awesome. What problem exists in the world today, Octavia, that you would like to solve?
Homelessness. I'm a big giver, and I'm actually thinking about starting a nonprofit organization, but I just want to give back to the community. It really saddens me to see people on the streets, and especially hearing about single mothers that are struggling. I just want to reach out and hug them and help them. So that would be the number one.
Is there a nonprofit tied to your business now?
Right now, it is not. So that's one of the reasons why I am thinking about starting a nonprofit to help.
Talk about your biggest win. What was your biggest win in business?
My biggest win was crossing the 6-figure mark, because before I crossed the 6-figure mark, it just seemed so far and so hard at the time. It felt like how am I going to get there? Like, I can't see it. I don't see it. And again, I would go back to my mother, you're going to get there. And I would just work and, implement the strategies. And we actually got there within like 16 months. I think we were right at like the 14th, 15th month after experiencing the broke, busted, and disgusted part in my life. So that's why I call it broke, busted, and disgusted, but a breakthrough. But at the time, yeah, it just seems like it was never going to happen.
Talk about motherhood and entrepreneurship.
Motherhood and entrepreneurship. I absolutely love my babies. At this time, I have 4 and I'm so done. But I raised my kids in my business. And what I mean by that is that, 1, I encourage them to be entrepreneurs, right? 2, I have given all of my kids a job here in my business. My son, he's now 21. He started off attending events with me, helping to set up the table. He would record the videos when I would speak at conferences. And then he started his business. My daughter, she's 17. So now that my son is off with his business and he's going to college and things like that, my daughter, she started as a bookkeeper here at Say Yes to Profits. She would attend the conferences with me. She would sell the books. My daughter will walk up to someone at a conference and tell them, this book, Say Yes to Profits now, you absolutely must buy it. Come on over to the table. She would do it before I could even do it. And my 2 little ones, I am now starting them in the business slowly. So I teach my kids the passion behind being an entrepreneur and the benefits behind being an entrepreneur. And I encourage them to come and work with me. I encourage them to help in some way. And I encourage them to start their own business and live their dreams, be the author of their life. And I believe that starts with having your own business in some way.
What is one piece of advice you wish you knew before starting your business?
I would have to say one piece of advice would be that if you don't plan for every dollar that you earn in business, your money will ultimately tell you what to do. I wish I knew that ahead of time. And I think going through the broke, busted, and disgusted was something I had to go through, because I totally understand when an entrepreneur, they're doing everything that they possibly can think of, but their business is not moving forward. I think I had to go through that phase, but I would say that would be the best advice. Every dollar you expect to come in your business, you should have an assignment on that dollar.
And you're telling entrepreneurs that even if they have a negative revenue?
Absolutely, because the money still is going to come and have to come. And eventually, even though it may be few and far between, you still have to have a plan for it. Because when you don't have a plan, you start to make decisions based off of feeling as if there's never going to be any money that comes, right? What does that look like? Well, you meet a potential client and you reduce your price in the midst of the conversation because you need that next dollar, right? But if you plan ahead of time and you manage your personal and business finances carefully, you will not feel the need to reduce your prices just to close a sale, because you'll understand the value that you bring to the table. You'll understand what you're offering and the results that your clients are going to receive.
The word is listening. What is that resounding sound or that message that your generation is saying we should listen to?
I guess I would have to say, listen to our pain, listen to our struggles, and listen to what we desire to see in the world. I think that would be it.
What is the best advice that you were ever given?
The best advice would be to never give up, no matter what you want to accomplish in life, even if it has nothing to do with business. If you can see it, you absolutely 100% can achieve it. Never give up on you. Because if you give up on you, who else is going to uplift you? Who else is going to help you bring whatever your dreams are to reality but you? So never give up, no matter how hard it gets.
Talk about your worst moment in business and what was your takeaway?
My worst moment in business was realizing that I failed. That was for me a hard pill to swallow. Realizing that at the time, honestly, I didn't even have enough money to buy food for my kids. And if it wasn't for my mother, who knows what would have happened. That to me was the worst moment in my business, that I failed. And at the time I was like, I don't even know what to do. I got a yes. I knew it was a yes. I absolutely am 100% sure that it was a yes, but I handled it wrong and I failed.
What is the best decision you've made as a leader?
To continue to educate myself. I'm an avid reader. My goal is one book a week, and to implement the strategies and everything that I've read, implement the systems, the strategies, the solutions, the advice to implement them.
Talk about your top 2 influencers or mentors, however you define them. What advice did they give you?
I would have to say people that I look up to would be Candy Burris and Tyler Perry. Now, I don't know them personally, so I call them my internet mentors, but I would have to say that Candy Burris is a business savvy Black woman. And for me, that speaks volumes. I feel like she looks like me and she's handling multiple businesses. So I often watch, the things that she has said about entrepreneurship. And then Tyler Perry, because again, my broke, busted, and disgusted story. He had one too. He was sleeping in his car. And then look at him today, right? So if that's not inspiration, I don't know what is.
Talk about legacy. Octavia, when it's all said and done, how do you want to be remembered?
When it's all said and done, I want my children's children to know that their great, 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 great grandmother, Octavia Conner, is the reason why they live the life that they live today. That is my legacy.
And if someone spent a day with you, what is something that they would learn about you that they don't know that they should know?
That I am silly, that I say things off the wall here and there, that I am not the typical accountant. While I wear glasses, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth, that I make numbers fun and simple to understand because I truly believe that it is. And my family tell me it's not a dull moment around me. So I would say, yeah, I'm silly. I like to laugh and smile and, have fun in life.
What do you need right now that you don't have to move the needle forward?
I need an awesome, phenomenal team. I am in the process of hiring for 3 positions in my company. Well, 2. I've hired one person as a trial period, but a phenomenal team. I have a great PR person. I have a great accountant right now. So just adding people to my team that will adopt the Say Yes to Profits dream and take it forward.
What are the goals for the future for your brand?
To be a global company. I want everyone who's anyone to know about Say Yes to Profit.
How do you celebrate your wins?
Well, a couple of different ways, actually. I love purses and shoes. So I will find a purse, let's say scrolling on social media, I'll find something, I'll screenshot it. And the next client we sign, a win for me, I'm going to buy a purse. Or I'll go and spend a full day at the spa.
Talk about your most memorable moment in life or business.
My most memorable moment would be having my kids. And it's not even just giving birth to them. It is seeing my kids grow up. I truly believe that your kids are a reflection of you. And I am so proud of my son who graduated the top 5% of his class. I am proud of my daughter who is graduating with her associate's degree and her high school diploma. And my other daughter who has had almost straight A's since she started school and she's now 13. So I would have to say my kids, even my 8-year-old, just the conversations that she has and the things that she asks about it and the way that she operates it blows my mind sometimes. So yeah, my little one.
Talk about self-care. What does self-care look like for Octavia?
For me, it is getting completely away. I will book an entire day just for me. I'll go to the spa. I'll get a deep tissue massage, a facial, and any other service I just happen to think I want to try at the spa. So I'll spend about maybe 4 or 5 hours at the spa. And then I'll go get my nails done and, just really getting away from everything, not taking phone calls, honestly telling the kids and the husband, leave me alone, and just really just getting away. Or even doing it with family where you just spend time and the sole purpose is having fun and relaxing.
Octavia, what inspires you to keep going?
Because I'm not there yet. I see massive success. Like I can look at my vision board in front of me and I'm not there yet. And until I get there, I'm not going to stop. And even when I get there, more than likely it'll be another level to go to. So I'm not there yet. So I can't stop. And on top of that, I have people looking up to me. And I feel like I'm here to touch lives. And I'm not done until he says I'm done. So I have to keep going.
Talk about business continuity. What is your highest risk as a business owner?
The highest risk as a business owner would be not having enough cash flow to support the operations and growth of the business. That would be the highest risk. And some ways to reduce that risk is to constantly save in your business. Is your capital reserve, have a certain amount you want in capital reserve at all times. I actually just did a live regarding this a few days ago, where you want to have at a minimum 2 months of capital reserve. So what is it going to cost you to operate your business on a monthly basis? Your total expenses and your owner's salary. A lot of times business owners don't include their owner's salary in their total cost. Once you have that number, your goal is to save for starters 2 months of that and have that at all times. Here at Say Yes to Profits, we position our clients to have 4 to 6 months of capital reserve saved at all times.
Talk to a younger Octavia. What would you say?
To believe in yourself, and don't be so hard on yourself. You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Just keep going, believe in yourself, and never give up. And know that it's going to be okay.
What have you not done in life that you dream about often that you would like to do?
I've never been to Jamaica and I want to go. That would be the one thing.
What is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have in operating your business?
I would have to say for us, it would be Google Suite, because that is the hub of communication for my company.
Give us 3 truths that you've learned in life or business so far.
I would say number 1, become fearless. Because once you become fearless, you can achieve anything. Like I have a sign on my wall that says, once you become fearless, life becomes limitless. And I believe that. So that would be number 1. Number 2, plan for everything in your life and your business. And number 3, give back to everyone. Well, I would say not even just give, but be a walking, talking blessing to everyone if you can. And that could look like giving It could be giving money. It could be giving a hug. It could be giving inspirational words, but try to be a walking, talking blessing to everyone.
Octavia, you talked about the first day quit and then you went back and got a part-time job. Talk about transitioning completely from corporate America.
So the second transition from corporate America was the best because I used wisdom in that transition. And what I ended up doing was when I went back to corporate America, I set an end date. So the end date for me was the day that I was going to leave corporate America forever. But in order to do that, I had to have a significant amount saved and a plan. And I had to have worked that plan and worked all of the kinks out of that plan before I felt comfortable with leaving corporate America forever. So that's what I did. I created a plan for my business. I had a number of clients, I had an amount of money, and I had the way that I wanted the company to operate before leaving corporate America that second time. And once I saw that that plan was valid, it was good, and if I work the plan, it will actually work in my favor, then I felt comfortable leaving by the end date for my second transition out of corporate America. And I have not been back since then.
That is a great story. You talked about being a mother, being a wife, being a business owner. Talk about work-life effectiveness and how do you make it happen in your business?
Well, for me, I usually start about 7 in the morning. I work from home and I will take breaks throughout the day, especially during the summertime when the kids are home. I take breaks. I go interact with them. I have a sofa in my office where my daughter will come in and sit down and, chit chat with me. And I just really make sure that I spend time on the business, but once business is done, it is done. It is all family time. It is all wife time. When my husband is coming home from work, I tend to stop and, go interact with him. When my kids are coming home from school, I usually, when my daughter, my youngest, come home from school, I'll take about an hour to greet her and sit down and talk about her day and help her with her homework and things like that. So for me, I just set boundaries on both. Like I don't work on Saturday at all. And Saturday is usually the time where it's family time or I'm just relaxing, but there is no work on Saturdays. I've turned down events and speaking opportunities because they were on a Saturday. Will I continue to do that in the future? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But for now, that's what I do.
If you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
The one question would be, if you could press rewind and go back to when you initially started your business, what you do differently? And if I had to answer that question, I would say I would take my time, not rush, and do it the right way the first time so that I wouldn't experience the failure that I experienced in my business.
We've come to the part of our interview. It's called Fun Facts Lightning Round. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the Fun Facts Lightning Round?
Yes.
Your first job.
Six Flags.
The last movie you saw.
Love Jones.
You relaxed doing what?
Reading.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
None.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Jolly Ranchers.
Your favorite month?
May, my birthday.
Workout or hit the couch?
Depending on the day.
Octavia Conner, thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, why don't you share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you? And feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Okay. Well, the best way to connect with me and my firm is to visit sayyes2profits.com. You can also follow us on all social media outlets or platforms at Say Yes to Profits, as well as on Instagram at Octavia Conner, and that's Conner, Octavia Conner _ on Instagram. And if you desire to have a virtual CFO that's going to help you say yes to profits, then visit our website and schedule a complimentary discovery session with me at sayyes2profits.com/session.
Thank you, Octavia. That is a wrap.
All righty. Thank you for having me.
Our guests have sent us so much swag, books, and giveaways this year. I can't wait to announce our monthly winner. So if you want exclusive content delivered right to your inbox and to enter into our monthly drawing, go to drfrancisrichards.com and subscribe to our mailing list. That's drfrancisrichards.com. drfrancisrichards.com. That's drfrancisrichards.com, and subscribe to our mailing list. We promise we will not spam you or sell your information.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.